911, where's your emergency?
Yes, we have an emergency. He's not breathing at all.
What happens when revenge consumes a person's soul? These chilling true crime stories reveal the terrifying lengths people will go to when seeking payback, often crossing lines that lead to irreversible consequences. From calculated plots to acts of pure rage, each tale shows how the desire for vengeance can spiral out of control, leaving destruction in its wake. In these twisted accounts, revenge isn't just a dish best served cold. It's a path that shatters lives, twists fates, and haunts everyone involved. Get ready to dive into the dark side of human nature, where revenge goes too far. The cold-blooded plot of an ex-wife. Linda's marriage to Richard had always been rocky, but it was when she discovered he was planning to marry someone else that her resentment boiled over. Their divorce had left Linda feeling betrayed and alone, but she couldn't accept that he was moving on with someone new. Fueled by anger and a deep desire for revenge, she decided to take drastic measures. Linda hired a hitman to kill Richard, believing this would be the ultimate way to make him suffer for abandoning her. She carefully orchestrated the plan, but the consequences would be far worse than she had ever anticipated. The hitman, however, made a fatal mistake. He targeted the wrong person, and the tragic result was not only the loss of an innocent life, but also Linda's complete unraveling. What was supposed to be the ultimate act of vengeance became an irreversible tragedy that left Linda with a lifetime of guilt and regret. In the end, Linda's plot for revenge destroyed not only Richard's future, but also her own, proving how revenge, when taken too far, can lead to a life of endless pain and loss.
Inappropriate relationship years ago when he called Children's Services.
The brothers' deadly obsession. Greg had always lived in the shadow of his older brother, Mark, a successful, well-liked figure who seemed to have it all. Over the years, Greg's jealousy grew as he watched Mark enjoy success in both his personal and professional life, while Greg struggled to find his own footing. The resentment built up until one fateful event pushed Greg over the edge, a job opportunity that was offered to Mark instead of him. Greg felt this was the final insult, the last in a long line of perceived slights. Consumed by anger, he plotted to ruin his brother's life once and for all, believing it would finally bring him the justice he felt he deserved. But Greg's plan, driven by his obsessive need to get back at his brother, quickly escalated into something far more sinister. What began as a scheme to sabotage Mark's career soon turned into a tragic series of actions that would destroy both brothers' lives. Greg's obsessive pursuit of revenge not only shattered Mark's future, but also led to Greg's own downfall. In the end, what was meant to be a calculated act of retribution turned into a nightmare of regret, as Greg's need to settle the score led him down a path of irreversible damage. The deadly revenge of a betrayed lover. Jasmine's relationship with Mark had always been passionate, but everything changed when she discovered his affair. The betrayal shattered her, and the intense feelings of heartbreak quickly morphed into a burning desire for revenge. Overcome with anger, she plotted a dark and twisted way to get back at him. Initially, Jasmine's intentions were to confront him and make him regret his actions, but the more she thought about the affair, the more her need for retribution consumed her. Unable to control her emotions, she decided to take matters into her own hands in the most extreme way. What started as an emotional confrontation escalated into a shocking act of violence. In a fit of rage, Jasmine ended Mark's life, believing that her revenge would somehow ease the pain of his betrayal. Instead, her actions led to a life sentence in prison, as the reality of what she had done sank in. Jasmine's vengeful desire blinded her to the consequences, and she was left to face the grim truth that her quest for payback had destroyed not just Mark's life, but her own as well. The love she once had for him had turned into an obsession for vengeance, with tragic and irreversible results. The shocking revenge of a high school bully. For years, Lisa had been the target of constant bullying at school, with Sarah, the popular cheerleader, being the ringleader of the torment. The relentless teasing, both verbal and physical, left deep emotional scars on Lisa. After graduation, Lisa moved away and started building a new life for herself. But the memories of high school stayed with her. The hatred and bitterness towards Sarah festered, and eventually, Lisa's pain turned into a vengeful obsession. She couldn't let go of the humiliation and the way Sarah had made her feel inferior, so she devised a plan to make Sarah pay for everything she had suffered. What was initially intended as a small act of revenge soon spiraled out of control. Lisa's plan to get back at Sarah, which seemed harmless at first, escalated into a violent act that left Sarah severely injured. The shocking attack left everyone in the community reeling, as they had never imagined Lisa, once a quiet and bullied student, would be capable of such brutality. Her quest for revenge had consumed her, and in the process, she not only destroyed Sarah's life, but her own as well. Lisa's obsession with making Sarah feel the same pain she had endured turned into a horrifying act of violence that forever changed both of their lives. The neighbor's vengeful secret. Sarah had always been the quiet, reserved neighbor in a peaceful suburban community, but beneath her calm exterior, a dark secret was festering. Years earlier, she had been wronged by a couple who had promised to help her, but ultimately betrayed her trust, leaving her humiliated and abandoned. Over time, the resentment grew until it consumed her entirely. Instead of confronting the couple directly, Sarah began to meticulously plan her revenge, using their trust against them. She subtly manipulated the couple, drawing them in with acts of kindness while secretly setting a trap that would ruin their lives. When the trap was finally sprung, it was far more devastating than anyone could have imagined. Sarah's actions, driven by years of bitterness, ended in a shocking betrayal that left the couple in financial ruin and their reputations destroyed. The entire neighborhood was stunned as the truth behind Sarah's carefully calculated revenge came to light. What seemed like a quiet, harmless woman had orchestrated a cruel and calculated scheme that not only shattered the lives of those she targeted, but also left her own soul scarred by the lengths she went to for vengeance. In the end, Sarah's need for retribution had devastating consequences, proving that revenge can be a powerful, destructive force. The father's unthinkable revenge. When Robert discovered the truth about his daughter's boyfriend, his world came crashing down. His daughter, Emily, had been in a relationship with a man named Thomas for over a year, and Robert had always liked him, until he found out that Thomas had physically and emotionally abused Emily in secret. The revelation sent Robert into a frenzy, filled with anger and an overwhelming desire to protect his daughter. His love for her was undeniable, but in his determination to make Thomas pay for the pain he caused, Robert's sense of justice turned into something far darker. His thoughts became consumed with revenge, and he was willing to go to any length to make sure Thomas would never hurt Emily again. In an act of calculated vengeance, Robert confronted Thomas and brutally attacked him, ending the young man's life. What was supposed to be an act of protection and justice spiraled into an irreversible tragedy, as Robert's need for revenge overwhelmed him completely. In the aftermath, he was left with the harsh reality that his actions, driven by love and anger, had destroyed not only Thomas's life, but his own as well. The police, community, and even Emily were left reeling from the devastating consequences of Robert's unthinkable revenge. His attempt to right a wrong through violence only led to more destruction, leaving everyone to wonder if there was a better way to seek justice without sacrificing so much. These twisted true crime stories serve as a chilling reminder of the destructive power of revenge. What begins as a desire to right a wrong often spirals out of control, leading to heartbreak, regret, and irreversible consequences. The thirst for vengeance may seem justified in the moment, but the price to be paid can be much higher than anyone anticipates. These stories remind us that the path of revenge often leads to a dark place where no one truly wins. If these tales left you unsettled, don't forget to subscribe for more gripping true crime stories. Stay vigilant, and remember, sometimes forgiveness is the only way to break free from the grip of vengeance.